One of the most common questions I get asked is, how do I find a therapist? It's overwhelming, it's daunting, there's so many therapists, so many providers, where the heck do you start? So today I'm going to help you out and I'm going to answer that question. I'm going to give you 5 super simple tips for how to find a therapist. Stick around. Hey y'all, welcome back. I'm Dr. Allison, and in case you are new here, I am a licensed clinical psychologist, and I have seriously made it my life mission to really simplify psychology to help you live a healthier and more meaningful life. So perhaps you have made the decision to start therapy. Hooray, bravo, that is a courageous decision. Or maybe you're on the fence and you're really thinking about it, but now the question comes up, how do I find a therapist? There's so many options and it can really be overwhelming to sort of know where to start. So I'm gonna boil down 5 super simple tips and steps to go about finding a therapist. Here we go. Number 1, check out the website Psychology Today. Now, this is not sponsored, I'm not affiliated with them, but this is a really great online directory of therapists in your area. So you can just go to their homepage, there's a tab that says Find a Therapist, and you can type in your zip code or where you live, and then all these different therapists will pop up. It's pretty cool too, because there's all these different filters that you can apply. So you can filter by insurance, you can filter by gender, you can filter by sexual orientation, primary issues. There's all these different things that you can filter through on the side, including online therapy. I get asked a lot if I do online therapy, and I do not at the moment, but if you're looking for someone in your area that does, that's a great way because you can select that filter. A quick point, not all therapists are going to be in Psychology Today's directory. However, I do think it's the most helpful place to start if you're literally starting from scratch and you got no other idea. It's very easy, very tailored, and you can read bios, you can see their websites. It's just it's like the old school yellow pages. Do those even exist, like a phone book? Basically, this is that, but for therapists. Give it a try. It's a good place to start. All right, number 2, check with your insurance provider. So not everybody has health insurance or chooses to use their health insurance for therapy, but if you are going to do that, which a lot of people do, and you want to use your health insurance, start there. So contact your health insurance provider and ask them, do you have a list of therapists that are considered in-network? You don't have to know that language, but basically that just means those are therapists that are sort of paneled by them that they will pay for or reimburse for usually. So start with that list and then go through that list and start to sort of see who might catch your eye, and you can compare that with some online reviews and who's close to you and all that sort of all those things. So this list might be kind of overwhelming at first, but it's just a starting point. Now, here's something really important to know. When you're looking for therapists, you probably won't find a lot of online reviews for therapists, and there's a couple reasons for that. So the first is that our ethics code as therapists, and all of us, whether you're a social worker or psychologist, we have a little bit of a different ethics code. However, it prohibits us from soliciting reviews from our clients. So I cannot say to one of my clients, hey, you seem to have really enjoyed therapy. If you like the work that we're doing, could you leave me an online review? We are not allowed to do that. The therapy relationship is very special and very sacred, and so our ethics, bodies work really hard to protect that. So we're not allowed to ask people for online reviews. So that sometimes kind of limits the number of reviews that people leave. Plus, there's that piece about stigma, right? A lot of people don't want to go on Google and or on Facebook and leave a review, that says, I see this therapist, because unfortunately there is still that stigma around therapies. And to be honest, I wish this stigma weren't there. I think we are doing a lot to really validate people taking care of their mental health. And so I wish that we didn't have so much stigma and shame around seeking therapy or leaving a review for a therapist. I think it's something we are actively working on. It's one of the reasons I have my channel, is because I really want to bring the fact that we all have mental health, right? We all have to take care of that out into the open, but it is still out there. So don't be weirded out if a psychologist or a therapist that you want to see doesn't have a lot of online reviews. That doesn't really mean as much in our world as it does, let's say, like a restaurant or a coffee shop or something like that. All right, number 3 is ask friends, family, coworkers, and neighbors. I'm going to be honest, I wanted to put this point first because I think it's the most helpful and the most realistic. However, that piece we just talked about with stigma, it can really affect people feeling comfortable asking people in their circle about how to find a therapist, or do they have a therapist that they like? But these people in your everyday life, you likely already have some sort of relationship with them. You trust them, you know their personality, you know their values, you know their style. So if they like their therapist, or they've seen a therapist in the past that they really liked, there's a high likelihood that it might be someone you would really enjoy working with. So listen out for the people kind of around you. It may not be your best friends, but listen out. Do they talk about therapy? Do they talk about mindfulness? Do you hear them mention having anxiety? If so, that might be a good person to say, hey, have you ever sought therapy? Or I'm trying to find a good therapist. Do you know if there's one in the area? I know it can feel like a scary ask, but we know that vulnerability is so important in relationships. So often I think this is totally worth the ask. Also, if you need to, pull the, hey, my friend is trying to find a therapist, do you happen to know one? If that helps you bring down the vulnerability a little bit and makes it a little bit safer for you to ask for a recommendation, that's totally okay. I'll support you in that. But I'm going to encourage you to take that risk and be authentic. When we moved to Chicago about 9 years ago, which is hard to believe it's been 9 years, I didn't really know anybody here. I didn't know any doctors, dry cleaners, dentists. I didn't know where to start. So I started by asking people in my circle. I started asking my coworker. I started asking, no joke, I would see women like walking around my town that I liked their hair, and I would stop them because that was high on my list. And I would just ask, hey, I'm new here. I just moved here. I'm looking to find a fill in the blank. And that is how I found almost every single, either healthcare provider or service individual that I got connected with, is I just asked people that were somehow a part of my circle. I know it can be scary, but I think this one has a really big payoff. Number 4, contact your nearest college counseling center. Now, most universities and colleges have a specific center on campus that is dedicated to serving the students and their mental health needs. I spent several years of my career in college mental health, so it holds a special place in my heart. You won't be able to go to their college counseling center, but the reason that you can contact them is they often keep a pretty thorough list of providers in the area. Often college counseling centers will, get a wait list, and so they keep kind of a tailored referral list for their students if their students want to see somebody longer or outside in the community. That's a great place to start. So how you might do that is just find, the local college near you, Google that name, and then counseling center after it. It'll pull up their website, and they'll probably have a main contact number, an email, a phone number, whatever. Reach out to them and just say, hi, this is fill in the blank, your name, and I'm trying to find a therapist in this area. I know that y'all often keep kind of lists of therapists in the area. I was wondering if you'd be willing to share that with me. It is worth asking. I can't guarantee that they'll respond, but they are so great at knowing the resources in their community, which is exactly what you are looking for here. And last, the 5th and final tip is, if you know someone, even if you're not close with them, that is in the mental health field, even if they're not in your city, reach out to them and ask, hey, do you know of a therapist in this area? And the reason I say that is, think of us, all mental health professionals, right? We go through graduate school and sort of we have people in our programs that we connect with, people that we train with, and then everybody graduates and finishes and they go live their lives and they spread out all across the country, in some cases all across the world, and they start to connect with different people. So we may know someone in the city that you live in. We may have some connections. We may have some names. And so that's a good place to start. You likely know your cousin, your cousin's friend. You likely know somebody who is in the mental health field, even if they're not in your area. Ask them, hey, do you know a therapist in this area? Again, that stigma piece, you don't even have to say it's for you. You can say it's for somebody else if that makes it a little bit easier. But they often are likely to know someone in that area, or at least give you kind of a good direction. I know I said in this video, that's a good place to start, and that's a good place to start because I really want to highlight there isn't sort of a right or a wrong. There isn't sort of a first, a first place to start that's magical. Any of these places are good places just to start, and then you can see what you learn through that process. It's really about finding the one that you're most comfortable with and starting there. Finding a mental health provider can be tricky, but like they say, recognizing that you need help is the first step. So if you've decided that you're going to seek therapy, congrats, you have already taken the first step, and that is often the scariest. So now it's on to the second, which is finding a therapist. And any of these 5 tips, they're super helpful to start there, see what you find, see what you learn, and then keep moving forward. Also, if you're wondering, like, do I need therapy? Would I benefit from therapy? Is therapy for me? I have done a video on this before, so I will link to that below so you can check that out. Totally gonna give you a warning, it's an older video, so let's just all have some grace on the quality, all right? So check out that video, and if you've decided that, okay, I'm ready to try therapy, you find a therapist, you get connected, and now you're wondering, what the heck is my first appointment gonna be like? I've written a post on that, so I will also link that below so you can check that out. As always, I am so grateful that you choose to spend your time here with me. I appreciate it, and it means so much. As always, there is so much good stuff on my website, drallisonanswers.com, so hop over, check it out, and let me know what you like. All right, thank you so much. By the way, if you liked this video, will you please give it a thumbs up? That helps me know what you want more of. Thanks so much, and have an amazing week. Bye-bye.